Set my phone down in here. You see me, chat? This has got to be worth a like, right? You know? I mean, I'm not doing any fun dances or anything like that, but I'm working, you know? At least I got a job or something. It'd be cool if I could have like a job TikTok or whatever. Nobody's saying anything in the chat, huh? Pretty standard, huh? I'm still kind of new to the TikTok live culture, but it's pretty standard for nobody to say anything. Like, I thought for sure people would talk shit or something, you know? Usually in my regular TikTok posts, like, I'll at least have like some older guy like say something about the way that I look, or you know, like what's happened to men, something like that. I'm used to that, but hey, it's at least engagement, you know? Damn, consumer propaganda, are you actually watching my live? I'll watch your stuff. I think you're pretty good. I really like Conspiracy Theory. They Live is one of my favorite movies. I don't know if I still got you in here, but it just was saying invite people to be a co-host, and you popped up. I assume because I follow you. Looks like you might have deleted the invite and got immediately out of my live. That's cool. I still will watch your stuff. Yeah, but I'm a big fan of the consumer propaganda guy's page. He is, oh, what? Hey, what up, dude? Hey, you got a sick page. I love the conspiracy stuff, and I like how you lay it out, because it's easy to get lost in a lot of the TikTok conspiracy stuff, and I feel like some people are here just to misinform us, to make us seem crazy, because I don't really feel like it's even conspiracy theory. At some point, it's just like, how many freaking coincidences are there? And then also, like, you know, how am I supposed to believe some of the shit that people are saying? Like, I don't know. I'm getting into the weeds here. You do such a better job of explaining it than me. I'm just kind of freewheeling, trying to talk about it. But yeah, welcome to my live. I'm not really doing anything too cool. I'm at work right now. This is my first week trying to do TikTok live stuff. I'm trying to pay my car off. So as bad as that sounds, you know, being an electrician isn't really paying the bills per se. So I figured I'd try my hand at lives or just TikTok. You know, I've been doing a lot of YouTube stuff, mostly like top fives because they're easy to do. It's just giving my opinion on things, and it's pretty fun. Exactly, I was tired of content I saw. Dude, that's exactly what I'm saying. I'm like, everybody's making content, why can't I? I mean, I'm not saying that I'm like some great performer or even like that well spoken, but like I just see so many people making content, like why can't I? And I'm not even hating on their content. It's just, you know, I see some stuff that's just like, hey, like if this person feels comfortable to get on there, why don't you feel comfortable? And I kept telling myself that. And you know, I never even get on people's comments and say anything negative, even if dude, you can do great in live. I should do it more too. Dude, I appreciate, this is crazy. You're the first person that's actually talked to me, because most people just jump in. I don't know, they'll watch it because I get the live count, but then they'll immediately leave. But yeah, I really appreciate your support. I think your stuff's cool too. I still have to watch. I think you have a YouTube channel, I believe, because I also have a YouTube channel, but yours, you have a lot more well put together information. And I think that I need to go and check your They Live out, because like I said, I think I said earlier, that's one of my favorite movies of all time. It's been one of my favorite movies for 15 years or so. I'm 36, by the way. I'm pretty old. I may look young-ish. I don't know what I look like to other people these days, but I'm 36 now. When I was 19 or 20, I don't know if you remember, but they used to have that True TV show with Jesse Ventura where he would go over conspiracy theory. And because they had that on their website, they used to have this thing called the Conspiratorium. And I like just spent weeks, maybe not weeks, because I'm a pretty fast reader. I used to read a lot when I was a little kid. But I just spent like a lot of time reading every single conspiracy theory that they had on there. I'm 37. Dude, you're sick. I didn't even think you were going to be this sick. I knew your content was this sick, but you're a real nice guy. Anyways, back to the Conspiratorium. I don't know if you remember that show, the Jesse Ventura conspiracy show. They had, what was it? They had, hang on. random people keep trying to be my co-host, just like I did for you. But that's why I did it, because I had like 3 people try to be my co-host. And then I saw you pop up, and it was like, invite him to be your co-host. And I was like, oh, okay, I know this guy. But these other people seem like scam accounts, like the nice ladies who like to have their spicy accounts, and real nice people that seem like they're from the Middle East, but I just don't know them, so I can't really co-opt on the co-host. But I saw you and I was like, hey, like I actually like a lot of stuff this dude's into. But yeah, anyways, back to the Conspiratorium. I don't know if you remember that. Yeah, the Jesse Ventura show. It was sick. But if you went to their website, because they had that show on their website, they had the Conspiratorium, and it was cool because it was just like a really quick outline of like every major conspiracy theory at the time. Like I read about David Icke. I was really into what David Icke was saying for a while when I was like 19. That was like the first time I heard about the lizard people. And then it went over, one of my favorite segments on there was the forbidden archaeology. And that was the first time I heard that story about the Smithsonian trip where they were traveling down the river through the Grand Canyon and they saw the Egyptian stuff. That was the first time I read that, and I was so sold on it. And yeah, that Conspiratorium was great. There's a lot of other, I guess I like cutesy ways of reading it, or like summaries. It helped me get into it. And now the closest thing I've seen to it these days is the Y-Files. I really like the way the guy presents it on the Y-Files, because he gives you that caveat of like, this might not be real, but here's everything that, people are looking at. And so I like the Y-Files. I like yours because you're a little edgier than the Y-Files, and I like that because I like a little edge. We're both like, we both grew up in the 90s, and I feel like it was so much edgier back then. So I like this like happy medium somewhere between like campy, like fun, but also edgy. I don't know how to explain it. I just feel like you could be like not totally like off the rails edgy, but still be a little bit edgy like back then, I guess. I don't know, like cartoons were like that. I'm getting off topic, but yeah, I like look forward to seeing your content anytime I do see it on my For You page. I try to like most of it. Thanks, man. I cannot believe someone's actually talking to me. And you're the first person that's talked to me on one of my lives, because I've done like 4 or 5, and I pretty much, I guess you could call it sort of a shit post, because like the other day I got on here and I was doing a live, and I was basically just doing the same thing I'm doing now. I was making up these electrical panels, and I just started thinking, because my wife, she's up on all the pop culture stuff, like she's into astrology and into pop culture and into stuff like that. So I hear about Sabrina Carpenter because apparently she's like hot right now in the trending. So I just started, I like posted on my live, and I tried to clickbait like a title, and I was like, my opinion on the Sabrina Carpenter situation. And then I just started kind of going off on how I don't think Sabrina Carpenter could make up an electrical panel. And I was just trying to like basically like shit post conversation. I thought it was funny, but yeah, it's cool to talk about like something I'm actually interested in, like conspiracy theory. And it's awesome that you're here, because I think you do a fantastic, anybody who's like listening to me, aside from you, Consumer Propaganda, go check his page out, because I'm just like rambling. Like I wouldn't say I know quite a bit. I have a hard time like saying I know things, because I can't explain them in depth, like off the top of my head. I need like prompts, but I have read a lot of stuff. When I was younger, I think I started learning how to read when I was 4 or 5, and that was something that I was really good at. I took off on reading a lot, and my mom had this Encyclopedia of Strange or something like that, and it had that was really what got me into this in my life. But it was the Loch Ness Monster was the first thing that got me into unexplained things. There's just something so fascinating. Maybe it's because I was a child of the 90s, and Jurassic Park was so big back then that you see something like the Loch Ness Monster, and you starting a podcast, and dude, that's fucking, I'm down. Just let me know, say word. But yeah, you know what I'm talking about, Consumer. Fuck yeah. Yeah, I need to learn more. I feel like I know like summaries of quite a bit, but I feel like you just have like, you've gone down the rabbit. You're like more, do you script? Cause like I've done a couple like top 5 videos on YouTube, and I try to like make scripts for them. So, but you're so well spoken on your conspiracy theory, and like I feel like when I start talking about it, I have to like really just reach in the back of my head, and I don't feel like I explain it well. But maybe it's probably because I'm not a professional speaker, right? Like that's probably what it is I'm just kind of like, I talk to people around me, and I just need to talk more to get better, I guess. I don't know. I'm getting better at speaking too. I think I'm going through like a crazy time, not a crazy time in my life, but you're right. I write it, outline, then ramble in these points. That's actually a good way to do it. Yeah, I could definitely talk, like if you ever had your podcast and you do that, I would definitely come on. I would try to hold my own with you, and whatever topic you bring up, I would just try to chime in on what I know. Do you like the conspiracy theories? I just dropped a bunch of breakers. Do you like the conspiracy theories about like the time travelers? Like I think it was like John Titor or something like that, or the Man from Torrid. I was always so fascinated by the Man from Torrid because I don't know, I just think time travel is so fun to think about, even though I'm not like a physics major, but I've read a lot of stuff to where it doesn't quite make sense to travel back in time. But then if there is like, so like, what am I saying? If there is the possibility that we're in some kind of simulation, or that there's like echoes of stuff, or like stuff is existing all at one time, because like, I don't know, I like read some of that Hermetic stuff too. I read like, what is it, the Kybalion, and you know, I don't know if you've read any of that either. It like talks about like the source and we're all one, everything's happening at one time. And you know, I don't know if you've read any of that either. It like talks about like the source and we're all one, everything's happening at one time. So I don't know, I just like to read everything. I like to see everybody's point of view on it. It's like I'm building this like database in my head of stuff that may or may not exist. But I think that, and back to time travel, I jump around a lot. I'm like 8 days into no nicotine and 2 weeks into no weed, which I don't really have a problem with weed. I had a problem with nicotine. I was using Zyn pouches, I was falling asleep with them in, so I had to quit, but I'm 8 days in, so I got a lot of frenetic energy right now, and that's probably why I'm talking so fast, and getting off topic. I think that I have really bad ADD. I'm not gonna diagnose myself. I did go to the doctor when I was younger and they said I had it, but I don't really like taking medication for it, so basically just consuming a lot of nicotine and caffeine has, I guess, been kind of my way of coping with it. But I feel like now that I'm not doing nicotine, I have so much more energy, so that's kind of cool. But what was I talking about? Do you say conspiracy? Like, because I always say conspiracy because that just lets people kind of know like what I'm about. But like there's some things that I'm talking about that I don't think are quite like conspiracy per se. It's just like theory, I guess. Because there's, you know, like the time travel stuff, like obviously most people like, they just like, they like evidence, like they like fact-based evidence or whatever. So if you can't prove it with like the general accepted type of way, yeah, I use conspiracy as an umbrella term. I'm glad I'm not the only one. Sometimes I feel like I'm crazy, but then I'll watch stuff like yours. And I'm like, oh, there's actually a lot of people that are into the same thing. So I don't feel so crazy. And then I'm glad I have someone like you to ask the questions too. You know, because I like the umbrella term, like I definitely just say conspiracy one, but there's so many different little subgenres. But I don't know if you remember, like, you know, like back when we were younger in the 90s, like they'd have like genres of music. Okay, so you'd have like alternative rock, indie, and then like as we got older, all of a sudden they have like all of these subgenres. And I feel like that's kind of how it is with the fucking conspiracy theory, because you know, you got like cryptids, you got like actual like government shadow conspiracies, you got like time travel. I just like to say conspiracy, and sometimes I feel like purists or whatever might have a problem that I just say conspiracy theory. But, you know, what am I supposed to say? I'd restricted for some audiences. Themes that some may find uncomfortable and has been restricted. Oh. Live visibility restricted. So yeah, I guess because it's weird. I just talked about, you know, quitting. I won't mention it again. But I just talked about quitting, you know, some substances, and apparently TikTok doesn't like that. So I gotta stop talking about it because now my stuff's restricted, which I don't think YouTube would restrict. I'm confused because I see some stuff that I definitely question. That's definitely why. That's so weird. How is that against community guidelines? Like, I don't get it. I mean, I would think that was like something that would like inspire like hope or inspire other people too. But yeah, I don't know. Love a good conspiracy theory. Love your content, man. Yeah, what are you up to? What do you do for work? I'm just like doing electrical. I've always thought that it would be fun to have a job speaking. I grew up in a rural town outside of Tacoma, Washington, and I guess the area I was from didn't really promote being anything, you know. People are just kind of mean. I was too, you know. It's just part of the culture, and you know, you kind of box yourself in. But I was working on a lot of warehouse, CNC machinist and programmer. That's fucking sick. So, and programmer. So you program the CNC machines? I had a buddy, Mark, that did CNC machining, but he was like, I think he was more entry level, so I don't quite understand the full scope of it, because there's no way he just randomly got a job through a temp agency doing CNC machining. So I feel like since you're a programmer, you're like much deeper into it. That's sick. I bet as a CNC machiner, like the 3D printing is kind of, I wouldn't say similar, but it's kind of like in that same realm, right? So like seeing all these things that you can like do at your house has got to be wild. Living in freaking Star Trek. I recently just started watching Star Trek. It's weird. I've never been like the biggest fan of like space sci-fi media, you know, like I liked Star Wars obviously because they had the cool ships and the lightsaber battles, and that was always fun. But I've never been like I like the Stargate movie, but I didn't like Stargate SG-1 the show. And it's not like I'm hating on it. It's just I have a hard time like keeping my attention for something like that. Whereas the movie was sick. Like I love the Stargate movie, and then my parents got divorced when I was 2, so I haven't really had like the closest relationship with my dad. But I called him the other day for Father's Day, and he was in the Desert Storm conflict. Like he did. I love it. We do stuff like 8 feet long sometimes, so 3D printing is limited on size currently. Have you seen those houses that they're doing now? They're like making like they have that concrete. I don't know what to call it. So like the material is like some kind of concrete, and they have like a giant, like it's like a giant printing arm, and they're making like walls for houses, and they're making these 3D printed structures now. My wife's grandma watches a lot of stuff like that on YouTube, and I saw that. But yeah, my dad was in the military. He served 21 years, my whole family. So yeah, my dad was in the military, and he was in the Desert Storm conflict. So I was kind of asking him, because I don't know if you've heard that theory, but I've heard stuff like people were talking about we were in Iraq looking for a Stargate, among obviously getting the oil, like resources first and foremost, esoteric memorabilia second. But I've heard about the freaking Stargate, so I was kind of asking him about that. But he was playing dumb, and then he was like, "Yeah, I swear to God," because he lives in Michigan now, and I finally got it because he doesn't hate me, but he hates my mom with a passion. So, and he's got like a new daughter and like a whole new family and everything. So he barely talks to me, and I think because I am the way that I am, you know, like I have the blue hair and the nose ring. Also, I heard we were looking for giants and stars. Oh, have you seen? There's like it's basically like the Y-Files, but I think it's like a guy from the Middle East. He does his own version of it, and they talk a lot about giants, or they're talking about basically like tremors. They're talking about like in the fucking desert, they have like the sand comes alive. I recently just stumbled upon, well, maybe like last year I was watching his channel, and it's presented more like scary stories, but it's like the giants and the sand coming alive. That's so interesting. But yeah, there's so much. I love YouTube, and I don't know, with all this stuff like that we can freaking learn about. I don't know how people, I don't know. I guess it's whatever you like. I don't really want to be someone who's hating on the kind of media people take in, you know, because that's not fair and it's kind of mean. I don't really like being mean, and I guess I always have to remember that ignorance is bliss, because, you know, some people that go down this rabbit hole and start talking about the kind of stuff we're talking about, it just keeps them up at night. But I go to sleep just fine. I love all this stuff, man. It just keeps me going. It keeps it interesting, you know? It puts a smile on my face. And I always think, like, you know, in the movies they show people that are talking about stuff like we are. They always show them like meeting their untimely demise in some horrible way, and it's like, oh, okay, well, at least I'd know. At least I'd go off knowing. And I have a hard time believing There's not some kind of like energy source, or I don't know how to explain it. There's got to be some way our energy source gets recycled, or we go to something different. I don't know what it is. I don't think any of the religions explain it. I obviously think that those are used as a control mechanism, which I believe we need, because like in my opinion, ignorance is bliss, and I don't ever want to say anything rude, but I think some people do need the religion. So I'm not hating on the religion, but it does divide us, and it gets to that point where, I don't know, it can get a little iffy, but it's hard. I have a lot of empathy for people who, need that, and I don't ever want to take that away from them, but I also wish that they would see the error in some of the stuff that they'd say, because like, if I am to follow one of these freaking books that everybody wants to follow, you can't judge anybody. That's what God does, but people are out here like judging and hating on things they don't understand, and it's like, hey, like, I thought if I read these books, the big guy says that we can't judge. We're not judges. We're people. We're mortals. And so we leave that up to the big man. And so we're supposed to love thy neighbor. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to have empathy for everybody. I like a good conspiracy theory, because not to get like metaphysical or religious, I really try not to do that, because I don't like it. I attended quite a few Christian churches when I was younger, and it's just, I don't know, they don't like a guy like me, even though I'm trying to be sympathetic to everybody's cause. But I just think that, dude, I grew up Southern Baptist. Damn, that's rough. See, I was lucky because I had a single mom, so she just kind of like would willy-nilly find a church because she felt we needed it, because we were in and out of my grandparents' house. Obviously she was a single mom, so that was tough in the 90s, because it was much harder for women to get the positions that they can get nowadays back then. And so like we would live with my grandparents, and my grandparents weren't really religious either. My grandpa, he was a great guy. He's always good to me, but he's more of like a drunk, and but not like a mean drunk. Like he might have shouted when he got mad. If I spilled a cup of water, he'd be like, God damn it. But he was always a sweet guy, never hit me or nothing. But yeah, I grew up that. And then my grandma, she, I don't know, she just always wanted something else in life. And I think she thought that she was going to live some kind of like lavish life, even though my grandpa was just like a retired military guy. And what am I getting at with here? Oh yeah, she would just drink and smoke like 2 packs a day in the house. And they ended up getting divorced. My mom got married for a little bit, and then while she was married for like 4 years, they got divorced when we were gone from the house. When we came back, my grandparents were split up, and yeah, so that's how that went. My grandma drank herself to death. And actually, this is a good way to get into a caveat of supernatural stuff, consumer. I don't know if you're into ghost stories or anything like that, but I had like a legitimate, like, I'm pretty grounded in reality. Like, obviously I'm talking about all this shit that I read and all the conspiracy stuff, but I have not had like a hallucination outside of like taking mushrooms when I was like 21. So I feel like I'm very coherent and grounded in like what I see and what I consider like real. But I had a legitimate paranormal experience in my grandma that passed away's old room after she had passed away. And my grandpa moved out of that house when I was like 20, and I was living there because he was going to give the house back to the bank because his dad passed away and he moved to Arizona, and because he inherited his father's property in Arizona. So I was living there by myself, and I was married, and my ex woke up in the middle of the night just scared. I could tell just when she woke me up, because she like shook me awake, and I like woke up and she was like, "What is that?" And she was scared, and I just like panned up, and like as soon as I looked up, I don't know what it was. I can't remember for the life of me. I don't know if my brain blocks it out. Or what, but I looked up and I was just sent into complete shock to where I couldn't move. And I felt like it was like laughing at me, and I'm not sure how to explain this, but because someone else saw it and then I saw it, that's what makes me believe it was more real. And then we didn't talk about it for years. We split up. And then she brought it up again, like when I talked to her like a year or two later, she was like, "You remember that night?" And I was like, "Yeah, I remember that night." And then I was telling someone else this story when I was in California one year, and I don't know, I told them that story because we were all talking about ghost stories. And then I went to someone's house in like Elsinore, California, and it's the only time I've ever had a nightmare that like woke me up. And like after I told that story, I went to sleep, and it was like I was in a dream where I don't remember who we were with, but we were running like we were running through somewhere, like we were all running from something scared, and I was running in the dream, and I look up, and it was like I looked up the same way as what happened in real life, and I woke up from the dream screaming, and that's the only time that's ever happened to me. So that one experience, because I've never had any other experiences, I don't have like anything play with my vision or anything, and I don't have like a history of like mental illness or like heavy crazy drug use. I'm from one of the oldest towns in the South. It's got so much weird energy, dude. The Civil War energy has got to be fucking nuts for what was happening back then, man. I can't even imagine. I haven't been to the East Coast. I've been all over. My grandparents are from Bentonville, Arkansas. So I've been to Bentonville, Arkansas quite a bit in my life. And what else? So my dad lives in Michigan. He lives in this town called Lawrence Lake, Michigan. And I haven't been there in a long time. Like I said, I don't really have like the greatest relationship with my dad. Not that I have anything against it. You know, life happens. You have kids, and you know, sometimes it just doesn't work out with their mom. So much energy. Soldier were there exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I'd be interested to go to freaking more of the South. It'd be kind of creepy though. But I do, you know, I watch enough of this stuff, like I assume you watch too, and you see it, and you probably seen it in real life. But yeah, I don't know how to explain it, because I don't want to sit here and tell people I saw a ghost, but I don't know what I saw. It was fucking something. Like you can call me crazy, you can say I'm a kook. I feel like I'm pretty grounded in reality, even though I do talk about a lot of conspiracy stuff. But again, I don't really, at some point or another, like some of it has to not be like conspiracy. Because I think it's a conspiracy if you just buy into everything that the quote unquote experts tell you, you know? Because to me, people who are experts in a given field are literally people like, and I get it, you know, everybody's in for something different, and I'm really trying to tread lightly and not hate on people for what they want their life experience to be, because that's just what it is. We all have our own specific life experiences. But I think that, you know, scientists, like they're people who had to be right. They had to be someone who wanted to be right about something. And so they performed experiments. They created a hypothesis, got back to work. But hey man, I appreciate it. Talk to you next time. I can't believe you're on here. Great stuff. Anyway, talk to you later. Appreciate you, man. Yeah, so anyways, if anybody else is on here, that was Consuper Propaganda. If you've been following the chat, he's great. You need to check out his content. If you like conspiracy theory, if you like anything like that, he does a very entertaining spotlight on stuff. He's been doing a lot of like government stuff, like because that's, you know, really that's what's happening in everybody's eyes right now. And I think he's doing the right thing, because a lot of people, they don't really want to hear too much conspiracy theory, but they love the government stuff. They love the Hollywood stuff. I don't know if it's still out there. There's a website that kind of, I wouldn't say it's like the same content as Consumer, but some of it reminds me. There's this website that was like Vigilant Citizen. They would highlight I think they're like really religious based, so you know, take it with a grain of salt. Take everything with a grain of salt. Take even what experts tell you with a grain of salt. Listen to everybody and formulate your own opinion. But yeah, there's this website called Vigilant Citizen, and they would just, I've been looking at it since I was like 20. Again, I'll be 36 in October, so I'm like a mid-tier millennial, whatever you want to call it. But I used to go on a bunch of like little websites and look into stuff like this. But Vigilant Citizen, they would talk about the symbolism in movies and music, and there is a lot. Like you, at some point, if you actually like have it pointed out to you, it is very hard to not start thinking about it in a different light. Because you know how you'll see a car and you'll be like, oh, that car's sick. I've never noticed that car before. And after you see that car, and you've never seen it before really, you just took notice of it one day, all of a sudden you'll start seeing it fucking everywhere. And it's kind of like that. It's like if you're not paying attention, you won't see it. But the second someone points it out to you, you'll start seeing it everywhere. And it starts to be like, well, why? And when it comes to symbolism in music and symbolism in movies and stuff like that, you know, you got to think, because like that's the easiest way to get people to do something, really, is just to get it in their heads. And I think we live a lot of our life based on stuff we saw in movies or TV. and I'm no different, you know. I have like flights of, or like I wouldn't say delusions of grandeur, but you get inspiration on stuff you want to do in movies, you know, like maybe you're the type that watches an action movie and you're like, oh, I want to go join the military and be a secret agent. Or, you know, maybe you're like me and you watched, you know, a bunch of skateboarding movies when you were young and you're like, oh, I want to be a fucking pro skateboarder. Like, that's the coolest thing in the world. Or maybe you watched one too many Nicolas Cage movies in the early 2000s and you want to go steal the Declaration of Independence, you know? There's a vibe for everybody. But yeah, I just had I invited him to be a co-host. He doesn't know me, so I totally understand him not wanting to be a co-host. I just had a consumer propaganda and coffee on my live commenting. The guy is awesome. If you don't know him, if you're listening to anything I have to say about conspiracy, go check his shit out because he's really well spoken. He's got he's put together like a really cool studio. I'm big on packaging. Like, you know, like I might get a drink, even if it's a crap drink, you know, I might get it just because the packaging looks cool. And it's by design, you know, people know what they're doing. They design stuff in a cool way and it attracts people. And sometimes there isn't even substance behind that cool packaging. But I think, in my opinion, there is a lot of substance behind consumer propaganda's cool packaging. He's awesome. And, you know, he had to go back to work. I'm at work. I probably shouldn't be doing a live, and I'll probably get off this soon once I'm done with doing this electrical panel. But, yeah, check him out. Anyways, is anybody still here? Is anybody listening to me? I've pretty much only been responding to consumer. I haven't noticed anybody messaging me. I do kind of have to keep one eye on the phone and one eye on the panel because I am at work and, you know, I know the wealthy elites are controlling everything, but I don't want to take advantage of the job that I have, you know. I'm here, I'm getting paid to do something. Maybe I'm just brainwashed because I'm older, but I think if someone's paying me to do a job, I should do it. And if I have a problem with it, I should go make my own source of income, which is kind of what I'm trying to do. Like, I'm trying to, you know, obviously I got to pay the bills right now. I'm trying to work, do this. This is just this reality for me right now. But if I keep talking and I meet more people like consumer, maybe I could get into speaking and like speaking about stuff I enjoy, because I feel like I'm really passionate about things that I like, and I think that passion can translate into, you know, being a personality. And I see so many people that make a living off of it. And I'm not trying to be famous. Like, I don't fucking care about famous. Like, it's not like that. But I just see the massive amount of wealth these people have. And if I could just get a small incremental amount of that, pay my car off, and then like have a little bit of money in my savings, like that would be sick. Like, I don't care to have a mansion. I would live in a trailer if I had enough money, but I can't even afford to own my own house. I like, my wife and I live with her grandma, and up until a couple months ago when it started getting hot and the cockroaches started creeping in, we were living in a shed in the backyard. So, you know, if I could just like even afford rent at my own apartment or whatever. And I'm an electrician. Like, you know, I made some choices when I lived in Washington. I used to be a journeyman electrician in Washington, a residential, not a commercial union or anything like that. I was a residential journeyman, and my wife's grandma got to the point in her age where she needed someone to be around more. And then her aunt is also special needs. She's got Prader-Willi syndrome. So we had to be down here because they needed someone down here to help out. So we moved down here. When I got down here, I was surprised because they don't honor my journeyman card from Washington State. So I basically had to start over. So that's where I'm at with that. But I got into construction because I wasn't the biggest fan of like going to school. Like I did fine in school, but I didn't like doing homework. I didn't graduate high school. I didn't quit school. I went all the way through till the end of 12th grade, and then the summer after 12th grade, I just went and got my GED, like, because I had that kind of intellect where I could just go take the test and get the GED. That wasn't a thing. But I did not want to continue in school in that type of education. Like, I read a lot, so to me, that's education, but it's just stuff that I'm interested in. I don't want to have to follow some specific curriculum, you know? Like, like I understand the, you know, the current model of society we have that's kind of necessary or whatever. So, and I don't have a solution for it, so I'm not going to talk too much shit, but I didn't vibe well with the education system. So I wanted to work. I wanted to get paid for my work. I did electrical was my 17th job. I started being an electrician when I was 25 as an apprentice in Washington State. It was my 17th job. I've had 6 electrical jobs now. I've been doing it for about 10 years. I do enjoy it. It's one of the few things I found where I can it's like an art form, you know, like I'm putting down, I'm doing these electrical panels, and that's like one thing. It's fun to pride yourself on your work as an electrician because you can make stuff look really nice, or you can just make it work, and it doesn't have to look good at all. It just has to function and pass code. But I'm the type of person, I like it to look nice. I don't know, it makes me feel good. It's kind of like doing a drawing, you know, like all of us can do a drawing, but some of us make it look beautiful. And I can't do a beautiful drawing, but I can do some beautiful electrical work. So I don't know. It's just like whatever floats your boat.